Well, John Edwards' defense team has started cross-examination of the wife of his former campaign aide, Sherry Young, who says she did help her husband, Andrew, hide Edwards' mistress from the public during the 2008 election. Both Youngs testified that they set up an account, or an accounting plan, I guess I should say, to use money from donors to fund Rielle Hunter's living expenses. Now, Sherry Young says she felt disgusted having to endorse the checks and put them in this special account. Young also went along with the plan when her husband claimed he was the father of Hunter's child to protect Edwards. Edwards maintains that the expenses were personal, that they weren't campaign-related, and that issue of a sex tape between Edwards and Hunter, that was discussed in court. The judge decided the tape won't be played for the jury, but it could be brought up during questioning. So let's get Michael Barnes involved here. He's an attorney with us, and he's been watching this case very closely. Michael, thank you so much for being with us. You know, Sherry Young is coming into this on the heels of her husband's testimony. He didn't look necessarily so credible. Does his lack of credibility transfer to her when she's on the stand?
I think so, because the acts are pretty much the same. They accepted money for a cover-up of one that was going to be incredibly embarrassing to the family, and they did it really to be around power, to have the access to the power as well as the access to the funds to build $1 million home, travel across the country, and live as though they were politicians or even bigger members of society. So I think the acts are going to indicate to the jury that these people are not of the highest integrity.
But does that take away from anything that Edwards himself is accused of?
I don't think it does take away from the acts that Edwards conducted, because we heard from the witness yesterday, the wife of Andrew Young, Sherry Young, that she actually agreed to go along with his plan to cover up the pregnancy and claim that her husband was the father of Rielle Hunter's baby, because she didn't want to be the lone individual to bring the campaign down. And really, the lone individual was John Edwards.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. What is the defense going to try to get out of her, though, during cross-examination?
I think they're going to try to, they've already gotten from her that John Edwards stated to both her and to her husband, as her husband testified, that he believed that accepting this money as they did was legal. And I actually think that that is a very important point, because it shows that he likely did indeed believe it was legal. There have been no cases of this nature prosecuted before, and there likely won't be in the future because the law has changed. And so that's going to be very important to the defense. Will
any of the donors, do you think, be brought up on the stand?
No. The two donors who provided the money that this family took, they're both actually unable to testify. One has passed away. I think he passed away in 2008. He was the finance chair for the campaign. And the other is 100 years old. She's the one, Bunny Mellon, who gave the Bunny money. And she's unable to testify due to poor health.
What about John Edwards? I think everybody's sitting back wondering, is he going to testify? And if so, what on earth is he going to say?
That's a great question. He would be amazing to be able to watch him testify and see if he can be as good on the stand as he was as the attorney, as a trial lawyer, and as a politician until his major failures came to the public. But I actually think he will, because I think he's a very arrogant person. His behaviors indicated that he believed that he had something special with the public, and I think that he's going to think that he has something special with the jury, and I suspect that he's going to go for it.
But as a defense attorney, a lot of times you do not want your client on that stand, because even if he gets up to testify, he will have to face cross, and that could get dicey, yes?
Yes, I actually think that if he does testify, it'll be at his own urging and over the objections of his defense team, because I actually think that the defense team's best argument is a policy argument, that the law has already changed, and that if this results in a guilty verdict, then what can a campaign not spend on? If they can spend on payments to cover up mistress in a pregnancy, is there anything that the campaign cannot spend on?
That's a good question. All right. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for being with us. So good to have you here. Michael Barnes.
Thank you.
Sure.